Every day, the Next in AI newsletter really tries to cut through all the noise to find the signals that actually matter. And this week, well, that signal is coming through loud and clear. AI is just not about code floating around in the cloud anymore. Nope, it's becoming the actual concrete foundation of our world. And today, we're going to break down exactly what that means.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang absolutely nailed it with this quote, and it frames everything we're about to cover. I mean, think about it for a second. AI isn't just a cool feature anymore, it's becoming as fundamental as the electrical grid or, the plumbing in our homes. So let's start with that foundation itself.
All right, so part one is all about that foundation. Because let's be real, without this massive, kind of unprecedented build-out of infrastructure, none of the mind-bending research or the big societal questions that we're going to talk about later would even be possible.
To really get a sense of the scale we're talking about, just look at this one number, 800 million. That is how many users OpenAI had to support for ChatGPT on its database. Now, this isn't just some big, flashy number. It represents a huge engineering challenge that pretty much every major AI player is grappling with right now.
So, the big question is, how on earth did they pull it off? Well, it wasn't just one thing. They used this multi-pronged strategy. You can think of it like building a really sophisticated shock absorption system for all that data. They created replicas to spread out the traffic, used a ton of caching to lighten the load, and put in strict rate limits to stop things from getting overloaded. It's really a masterclass in scaling that's setting the standard for the entire industry.
And this whole infrastructure build-out, it's happening literally everywhere, not just at OpenAI. In the enterprise world, you've got companies like PDI Technologies teaming up with AWS. In the startup scene, you've got new players like Infract focusing purely on that core infrastructure. And then in automotive, NVIDIA's Drive platform is behind some award-winning safety features. The foundation is being laid, brick by brick, across every single industry.
Okay, so with this powerful new foundation firmly in place, what can we actually build on top of it? Well, this is where it gets really fun. Researchers are now unlocking a new frontier, and they're tackling problems that honestly felt like pure science fiction just a few years ago. This is one of the most pressing questions of our time, for sure. As generative AI gets better and better, telling the difference between what a human made and what a machine made is becoming almost impossible, and that creates this huge need for reliable authentication. So, what's the solution?
Well, researchers are developing a much more sophisticated method. It's called latent watermarking. So instead of just slapping a visible watermark on an image after it's been created, this technique actually embeds an invisible signature directly into the AI's creative process. It's baked right in from the very start.
And the difference here is like night and day. The old way was slow, it could mess with the image itself, but this new latent approach, it's seamless and it's way more secure. What this really means is we're getting a powerful new tool to maintain trust and authenticity in a world that's getting more and more filled with AI content. Okay, so from authenticity, let's jump over to perception. Here's a question that sounds like it's straight out of a movie. Can AI learn to see in 4 dimensions? It's a fascinating challenge, and it's something that DeepMind is tackling right now.
Right, so their project, called D4RT, is teaching AI not just to see a static 3D world, but to understand how things move and change within it. That 4th dimension, it's time. Giving AI this understanding of cause and effect over time is a total game changer for, say, a robot trying to navigate a busy room, or for creating truly immersive VR and AR experiences.
And this research isn't just theoretical stuff, it's actually saving lives. Take PMB Bench. It's a brand new benchmark that's helping AI learn to generate synthetic, contrast-enhanced medical scans. Now, this is incredibly important for patients who, for health reasons, can't receive those traditional contrast agents. AI can basically paint in the details a doctor needs to see, which directly helps in diagnosing tumors. It's a perfect example of AI solving a really tough, real-world problem.
Now, with this new infrastructure and all of this incredible new power, there comes a new and really urgent responsibility. And this brings us to the final, and maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle, the new imperative to align AI with human values.
And we're seeing this being taken very seriously at the highest levels. A landmark alliance has just formed between 2 of the world's leading research institutions, Stanford's Human-Centered AI Institute and the Swiss National AI Institute. This is a huge signal that the focus is really shifting towards shaping AI's future responsibly.
And their goals are crystal clear. They want to make sure AI is open and accessible, not just locked away in a few corporate silos. They're committed to human-centered design, to international collaboration, and to guiding this powerful technology on a responsible path. These are not just buzzwords. They are real commitments from the people who are building our future.
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to have these big, lofty goals, but it's a whole other thing to actually implement them in code. How do you really get an AI to understand and act on our complex human values? Well, a whole new way of thinking about this is starting to emerge.
So, for a long time, the approach was model-centric. That's where a small group of developers basically wrote a fixed rulebook for the AI. But that treats all of us, the users, as just passive recipients. The new approach, called participatory alignment, completely flips this on its head. It's more like a conversation, where the AI's values are co-constructed and refined through its real-time interactions with users. So the crucial takeaway here is this really fundamental shift in thinking. We are moving away from just dictating values to an AI, and we're moving towards building systems that actually learn and adapt to our values through an ongoing conversation. The goal isn't some perfectly programmed machine, but a collaborative partner.
And that brings us right back to where we started. From the concrete infrastructure being laid down today to the cutting-edge research it makes possible, all the way to the deep philosophical questions of how we align it with our humanity, it all leads to this one final critical question. As AI becomes the world's new infrastructure, who gets to be its architect? Is it just a handful of developers, or is it all of us? Something to think about.